what are we to make of this? If it is true, and it is, that scholars are satisfied that they possess substantially the true text of the Greek and Roman writers, regardless of only having a mere handful of manuscripts, significantly less than the New Testament, and if it is true that the smallest time difference between the original works and the earliest copies in existence is 737 years, substantially greater than the time difference for the New Testament, what is it that prevents us from drawing the same conclusion with regard to the historicity of those New Testament texts? Now, of course it's true, a lot can change in 250 years, and corruption of a text that in that time is not unthinkable. But we have to weigh that possibility against the sheer number of New Testament manuscripts, partial and complete, in existence, 24,300. Now, why should the number of manuscripts make a difference? I'll let Brian Edwards, author of Nothing But the Truth, explain. He says this: suppose 5 children were asked to copy a sentence from the school wallboard, and only 2 produced identical copies. If we did not know the original sentence, we might not be sure whether the 2 were right, or whether they both made the same mistakes by coincidence. But if 500 copied the sentence and 200 were identical, we should be fairly certain that they were an exact representation of the original. It is something like this with the large number of New Testament texts available to us. So basically, the more manuscripts you have, the more certain you can be about the original texts. And because we have 24,300 manuscripts, our certainty that there was little or no corruption of the manuscripts during those 250 years is multiplied. In fact, studies have been done to assess the possible extent of textual variation in that period, and it has been found that only 400 words in the entire New Testament text are in question. That is 0.5% compared to a figure of 5% regarding, for instance, the Iliad. Now, even that 0.5% is important, but there are 2 things to note in regard to this. One, a large number of the variants are on a level of simply spelling differences or mistakes, and 2, as Edwards states, not one Christian doctrine is based upon a verse that has conflicting texts behind it. In conclusion then, we are left with the near certainty that what we possess in our New Testament today is a faithful recording of what the first eyewitnesses themselves wrote. And we're left with the question that I posed earlier. If the eyewitnesses are mistaken or even deliberately misleading us, why was that fragile faith, that message, not eradicated in its infancy, its embryonic state, by those with the heavily vested interest in discrediting it? Could it be that what is written here in the New Testament might literally be true?